Okay, I have literally had it up to here with all the negativity I have received since yesterday. And I've had to do with George Floyd, Officer Derek Chauvin incident. Yeah, I have seen a body cam video that proved that he didn't apply pressure, but there'll still be people disagreeing with me on it. And how rude this has gotten was I have received comments on via Facebook. And I think the majority of these people were American, so they were accusing me of being blind, or they were on drugs, or stay in school, or like and yeah, like I proved them all wrong, and yeah, they're still making fun of me for, like I said, graduated. So I assume at least some of them might have been kicked out of a high school or something like that. So just whenever really dealing with people talking to people online, strangers, don't comment like disrespectfully just because you don't agree with each other. It's like the 6 or 9 situation where the six or there's the number drawn on the ground. So if you look at it from one side, it's a 6. If you from the opposite side, it looks like a 9. So there's two people agreeing it's 6 or is it a 9. So these people are fighting over who's correct. So the way that you could actually get that proven correct is who's the correct is the person who actually drew that number on the ground. So if that person purposely drew a 6, it's a 6. If a person purposely drew a 9, it's a 9. End of story. So, but there's this I have mentioned this in last year's video that I made of George Floyd, and yet people still don't believe me, and they wouldn't waste like at least 30 seconds of looking up what meth and fentanyl is. So for those idiots who wouldn't even bother, I'm going to look up what meth and fentanyl is for you. So meth. It is a methamphetamine, which is a powerful, highly addictive stimulant that affects the central nervous systems. So there's a crystal version of it that looks like form of the drug that looks like a glass fragment or shiny bluish white rocks. So it is chemically similar to an amphetamine drug used to treat attention deficit hyperactive ADHD patients and narcolepsy, which is a sleep disorder. So people could usually take this by smoking, swallowing, snorting, or injecting. So some people do it for a hit and run or something like that, like run. So it is like sort of like a recreation drug, which kind of explains why this is one drug that George Floyd took that so it can affect. So it had a short-term effects like increased wakefulness and physical activity, decreased appetite, faster breathing, like heavy breathing, rapid or irregular heartbeat, like you have a heavy heartbeat, and also increased blood pressure and body temperature. So that is like another in, and there's a long term effect, which is to people who inject meth are at increased risk of contracting like infectious diseases like HIV and hepatitis B and C. So these diseases are like transmitted through contact with blood or other bodily fluids and can remain on drug equipment. So extreme weight loss, addiction, severe dental problems, like the mouth, intense itching, leading to skin sores from scratching, and anxiety, changes from brain structure and function, confusion, memory loss, sleeping problems, violent behavior, paranoia. So in this case, extreme and unreasonable distrust of others, and hallucinations, sensations and images that seem real though they are. Like, so you're like seeing some. It's like you're like seeing something, but it's not actually really there. But yeah, that kind of confusions. So how you can actually like so it is addictive by and increases when people stops taking it, it could they could get anxiety, fatigue, severe depression, psychosis, and intense drug cravings. So, now, so usually you can overdose, which George Floyd did. So you can, how this is how like usually how when people like are like sent to like the the hospital, and then they take over from there, restoring blood. They restore have to do the restoring the blood flow to the affected part of the brain, stroke, restoring blood flow to the heart, and treating the organ problems. Now let's look at fentanyl, which is but please remember meth is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. So if you took your chemistry or physics class, you'll know. And fentanyl. So fentanyl, okay, it's made up of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. So that the oxygen is the only different part of this. The difference. The fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opioid that is similar to morphine, but it's 50 to 100 times more potent. It's a prescription drug, which is also made and used illegally. Like morphine, it is a medicine that's typically used to treat patients with severe pain after, especially after surgery. And also sometimes it is sometimes used to treat patients with chronic pain who are physically tolerant to other opioids. So there are like some street names that they actic, durajustic, and so there's a whole bunch of street names. I will not mention them right now. So I've talked to a vape shop lady about street names for like drugs and stuff. So yeah, so people how people use the fentanyl is they can give it given as a shot, a patch that is person on the person's skin, or lozenges uh, that are like stuff like cough drops like. So the illegally used fentanyl is mostly often associated with recent overdoses made in they're lab made, so they're like powder in powder form on a blotter paper and put in eye droppers and nasal sprays, or made into pills that look like a prescription. So, so people like George Floyd could like they would be taking like pills and they would not, they would absolutely don't know if that contained fentanyl or not. And don't forget, fentanyl is a gateway drug. So this is like some side effects. So it affects the body's opioid receptors, the brain, and so that controls the pain and emotions. So it makes it hard to feel like pleasure from anything besides the drug. So except the drugs then, so you could, if someone took fentanyl, they would feel extreme happiness, drowsiness, nausea, confusion, constipation, sedation, problems breathing. Remember how he said, "I can't breathe"? And unconsciousness. And yes, people can. And a question: can you overdose on fentanyl? Yes, that is possible, according to pharmacists. So when people overdose on fentanyl, their breathing can slow or stop, which decreases the amount of oxygen that reaches the brain. So when you breathe through your nose or mouth, so it's going to be decreased. So it's going to be hard to breathe. And of course, seizures or other bodily issues will happen. And I'm talking, and I know how seizures work because I had several, and it's none of them were drug related. It was just. It had to do with the syndromes, absolutely not drug related. So how you can treat the fentanyl overdose is many drug dealers they mix the cheaper fentanyl with the other drugs like heroin, cocaine, MDMA, and meth, and also meth. Which probably explains why he took meth and fentanyl. So the guy who gave it to him, so yeah, he was definitely mixing drugs. So this is often which really makes it hard to figure out which the person mixing it, which drugs did they mix it with. So that is our big question. So the police will have to figure that out. The doctors will have to figure that out. The pharmacists will have to figure that out. So yeah. So they might have to use naxolone, which is the medicine that can treat fentanyl overdose when given as soon as right away. So this fentanyl is so the person who is on fentanyl will need multiple doses of naxolone. So if you think someone is overdosed on fentanyl, so what you do is call 911 so he or she can receive the immediate medical attention. So once the medical personnel arrive, they will administer naxolone if the suspect an opioid drug is involved. And people who are given naxolone, they need to be monitored for another 2 hours after the last dose. So they have to make sure the breathing does not slow down, decrease, or stop in any way, because and if you take fentanyl. If you take fentanyl, yes, it can lead to addiction. So people can be addicted to fentanyl who stop using it can have severe withdrawal symptoms that can begin as early as a few hours after the drug was last taken, and like you trying to be sober, they might have muscle and bone pain, sleep problems, diarrhea and vomiting, cold flashes and with goosebumps, uncontrollable leg movements like shaking your leg, uh, and also severe cravings. So if they want to stop this addiction, they have to take bupropion or norepinephrine and methadone. And also, maybe possible if they have to naltrexone, which blocks the opioid receptor, then prevents fentanyl from having an effect. So people, and also they could get counseling. So these people can obviously check out for cognitive behavioral therapy. They can help modify the patient's drug use, expectations and behaviors, and then contingency management, which is and they can also see if they're at the point, and also motivational interviewing, which is a patient-centered counseling style that addresses patients' mixed feelings to change. So yeah, there you have it. So those of you who didn't want to waste your time, to fully look these up, you can go to drug reviews slash gov. I have the links down below. So it is proven to that drugs can have a good so meth and fentanyl could be mixed by illegal drug dealers. So it can literally stop someone's breathing. So that is like literally one clue. Because fentanyl could literally stop your breathing. Like it could either decrease or it could just stop your breathing. And don't forget, George Floyd's girlfriend did mention he was a heavy he was a heavy drug user, and it literally says on this website that about meth and fentanyl. And of course, and there's some drugs. It literally says on this website that I'm looking on that some drug dealers mix meth and fentanyl. So if people are like on a sort of trying to go against me about oh he like died because the officer Derek Chauvin related well this is what definitely happened first. George Floyd took these drugs, meth and fentanyl, possibly maybe mixed together. We don't know because sometimes they could either take a meth and fentanyl combination fine pill or something like that, and then that took effect, and then of course when the officers pulled them over for that counterfeit bill, yeah, of course he was still having the drugs were kicking in. And the reason why he said I can't breathe is because of the fentanyl effects of lower decreasing the oxygen that comes from his nose and his mouth, and it was like lowering it and decreasing it until it's a complete. Get what I'm saying? So you better look up what meth and fentanyl is, or yeah, you can't have a fight against an argument against me. You gotta look up the proof. And please do check the body cam videos cause I don't care what the stupid news showed you cause they obviously they're trying to do this cops against blacks hate crime thing and all the white against black crime Black Lives Matter motives. And also, please be polite to people on social media. Like, if you're talking about a topic, and you don't agree with somebody, okay, just say, my opinion is this, and there is absolutely no reason you should act like a complete a-hole and try to You're trying to like overpower somebody. Now you know what meth and fentanyl does, and I do too. It's basically an educational lesson for you and me. So please be respectful, and if substances and drugs are mentioned, please try and figure out which one they are. Don't be like those people that cross their arms and act like a complete stuck up. Please do your research, like look at multiple websites, check out multiple videos. Know your proof, and don't overdose on drugs. Reverend Juice World, he overdosed on drugs. Look where it got him. Hashtag drugs not for me. George Floyd did not deserve to die, I'll admit that. He just did not have to overdose on drugs. If he didn't, and he actually complied to what the cops did, he would be still alive today. And I think Officer Chauvin is still innocent, and the way he acted, and he complied to, okay, put me in jail. The way he acted, if George Floyd acted like that, I don't care what your race is. If you comply politely, you could get out much easier. Remember that.